First of all, don't drink biofuels. It's dangerous. Second of all, did you know that there are 3 generations of biofuels? Well, there are. The first is made by farmers and is trash. The second is significantly better, and the third is algae. We'll get into that later, but today I wanna focus on why biofuels aren't that great concerning farmland usage, in what case they can be good, and what's the most likely and logical outcome for biofuels in the future. Okay, so biofuels could theoretically be made even from kitchen waste, but it's mostly not the case today. Farmers are growing corn, rapeseed, sunflowers, and who knows what else en masse to produce it. The ethanol and biodiesel obtained from the farm produce are called first generation biofuels. The thing is that it's a carbon and sometimes even energy negative process. Let me explain this. To grow corn, you need X amount of energy. According to some studies, when you then harvest the corn, you get 4.11 times more energy back than you've put in. This happens because plants store energy from the sun. So you've made about 4 times your investment. Good deal. But to convert this new energy that the plants captured into the form of ethanol, you need to expend additional energy, which means that instead of the 300% gain by growing the corn, you can get, for example, only a 38% gain in total by spending the additional energy on the conversion. And sometimes this can even lead to a net energy loss when something along the way goes wrong. So growing corn to make ethanol can, but doesn't have to be energy efficient. And the fact that it's a biofuel doesn't have to do anything with emissions. The term biofuel only means that it's a fuel produced over a short period of time from biomass, rather than by the slow natural processes involved in producing fossil fuels. In fact, biofuels have a net negative CO2 ratio, same as the normal fossil fuels. They maybe produce less of it, but it's still net negative. But what I think is the least efficient aspect of the whole first generation of biofuels is that the main concept is planting plants so that they capture the energy from the sun and then convert it into fuel. Only thing is that we have a much better technology to do that. It's called the solar panel. I mean, it's just dumb to do it with plants. Contemporary solar panels are about 20 to 80 times more efficient in this than photosynthesis. For example, corn only captures 0.25% of the photon energy, whereas the panels capture 20%. So I just don't think that first generation biofuels make any sense at all, as you have to waste farmland on them. It's actually 4% of the total global farmland, roughly 190 million hectares, which could be used to grow shitloads of food instead, according to this 2016 statistics. And it isn't efficient in capturing the energy, and it's still carbon negative. Then we have second generation biofuels, which come mostly from organic waste and wood, or cellulose. This is so much better than the first generation of biofuels because for already used vegetable oils or wood, you don't need extra farmland. That means there isn't any deforestation needed and you help get rid of the nasty stuff. The second generation is also less energy intensive as you theoretically don't need to grow anything, rather just recycle it. But here it gets wild! The third generation of biofuels, algae. Just look at this comparison. From 1 acre of algae you can get up to 10,000 gallons of biofuel annually, compared to the measly 230 gallons of ethanol from an acre of corn. Plus the biodiesel made from algae oil packs about 36% more energy than ethanol. The only problem is that the algae biofuel research started already around the year 2000 with loads of companies raising billions of dollars. But this all somehow dissipated. Maybe the market wasn't ready for it yet. Who knows? But to the pros of being maybe the most efficient biofuel source, there are also some cons. These are based on the 2 ways of growing algae. First is outside in open ponds. Although you don't need as much energy input for this production, it's still quite land intensive. The second type is indoor farming in these tubes. As you might have guessed, it's less land intensive, but the energy consumption spikes. Overall, biofuels need either valuable land or energy, and I don't think it's a wise capital allocation for humanity right now. What would make sense for me though is to use biofuels either from algae or organic waste made with clean energy from fusion to be able to use combustion engines once we run out of oil. This is, I think, the best use case because I love the sound of yeah. And to get back to the idea of growing food instead, I found this interesting article from 2015 that did the math. How much food could we grow on 155 million acres of cropland? We could use 55 million of the total 155 million acres to grow canola and produce about 24.75 million metric tons of peanut oil. That would meet or exceed the need for vegetable oil of all the 795 million hungry persons in the world. If the hungry had 5 tablespoons of veg oil, 70 grams per day, in addition to their current inadequate diet, their total caloric intake would increase by over 600 kilocalories per day. That veg oil, along with the usual staple foods, would be sufficient to remove most of them from the state of hunger. And what's your opinion on this? Do you want biofuels? Do you want normal gasoline? Or would you rather drive electric? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. This happens because plants store energy from the sun. Ba-da-ba-ba.